This year, like, there was actually surprising, even for me, surprisingly a lot to talk about like Bitcoin staking, not just like Bitcoin staking, but also Bitcoin potentially moving to proof of stake. So that was actually discussed a lot.
Yeah.
And a very wild idea still.
Like most innovation in crypto starts out on Ethereum and sort of matures there a little bit and then ultimately makes it down to maybe alternative PMs or like Cosmos Chain.
Meme coin narrative is coming up now, like the meme coin super cycle everyone is talking about. We have a lot of institutional capital coming in, so it's getting really serious and like suited up on the one side and then getting way more degen on the other side. So I'm here with Mirko of Staking Rewards and Felix of Symbiotic. Thanks for joining me, guys.
Thanks for having us.
So we're here at Staking Summit. So it's the fourth Staking Summit.
The third, actually.
Oh, it's the third. Okay, so I have been to all of them. I thought there was a fourth one in there. I missed. But yeah, congrats on this event. It's like really good. It's been 2 days. Everyone from the staking industry is here. Really high quality, good signal to noise, everything you want out of an event. And it's at the beginning of the week too, so people are pretty energetic still, even though they're mostly jet lagged. But yeah, how's it been for you guys?
Yeah, really great. I mean, we hosted the first Staking Summit in Lisbon like 3 years ago now,
2022, and then the second one in Istanbul, and now in Bangkok, and it grew like every year like 30% around. So it was like 300 people, and then like I think 600, and this time we are like close to 1,000 in attendance, and it's really great to see like the whole staking industry grow as well. So I'm very impressed actually to see yeah, how the proof of stake industry grew, and then also the Staking Summit kind of grew alongside. So you can really see like how the discussions around staking and proof of stake evolved over time. When you look back at like first Staking Summit, there was a lot of like talk about DBT was like the big new thing,
Yeah.
kind of, and like Obel had a presentation, and everyone was kind of like, "Wow, what is this?"
Yeah, we're gonna decentralize all the validators, you know.
Now it's kind of like, all right, everyone is using it already, and like anyone you speak to, yeah, that have something to do with DBT. So it's really interesting to see like these the evolution over time as well. Yeah.
Yeah, how about you?
Yeah, amazing conference as always. I was also on all of the events actually in Vietnam, also like speaking just after Mirko. So thanks for the opportunity back in the day. I think, you know, Mirko is also like one of my first contacts in staking. When we were both in Berlin and we started Staking Rewards, we kind of like chatting about, you know, what staking is and what you can sort of incorporate under this staking umbrella, because I think staking was also used for like master nodes, and you know, at some point even staking was used as a term for within like sort of the DeFi ecosystem a little bit,
Yeah.
right? Like synthetic staking and stuff. I think that actually went back a bit. I feel like now it's really again more infrastructure-y, but you know, so it was really great to see Staking Rewards like always be part of that, and then starting to make this conference and really like this key niche, and bringing all the players there together that usually will like try to meet some other conference in some corner, and now it's like super centralized in one spot, and you have all the people there that matter, which is really productive, I think, for many people. That's why you see many of the sponsors, I guess, also returning and
Yeah.
coming back.
But staking has also kind of gone back into DeFi now with restaking and LRTs and everything. We'll talk a little bit more about that as well. But what are the, you know, over the last 3 years, so you talked about like DBT was the main topic in the first year. You know, what's the arch of staking in your view, like the main themes that we've seen here or that you've noticed kind of evolve over the last 3 years?
I mean, this year, like there was actually surprising, even for me, surprisingly a lot to talk about like Bitcoin staking, and not just like Bitcoin staking, but also Bitcoin potentially moving to proof of stake. So that was actually discussed a lot.
Yeah.
And a very wild idea still.
Yeah.
And it came up last year at the Staking Summit. It was like we had one panel about Bitcoin staking, and everyone was kind of like, yeah, what is this? And it was really kind of yeah, frowned upon even still. And now it feels like it's already common to talk about it. So that's really interesting, I think. Yeah.
You want to turn Bitcoin into fiat money, don't you? Yeah. Okay. I mean, I know Sunny's talked about this, and like a lot of other folks have. I think what that will happen maybe, but in a long time. I don't know how long you think the timeline is on that, but I feel it's like maybe decade out or something.
Yeah, like it's gonna take a very long time. Like
Yeah.
Sandy was talking about the Bitcoin Renaissance. So I mean, yeah, there needs to be a cultural mindset shift.
Yeah.
And
Do you think that comes from I don't like this word capture, but like capture of Bitcoin by more institutions in the form of like ETFs and institutional institutional use of Bitcoin?
yeah, all of the institutions are actually very surprisingly interested in Bitcoin staking
Yeah.
because somehow everyone has Bitcoin, but they can do nothing with it. And now people are already used kind of from the proof stake world that they can do something with their tokens and earn a yield as well and put it up as collateral. Like Ethereum is kind of very like staking is part of every financial product now. Like it's kind of part of the stack
Yeah.
already. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like most innovation in crypto starts out on Ethereum and sort of matures there a little bit and then ultimately makes it down to maybe alternative BMs or like Cosmos chains. Like, in Cosmos we didn't
Wait, I thought Cosmos was like the innovation hub of crypto.
or sub this for like I guess for chain related things, for app chain related stuff. And like the ultimate vision of app chain world.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't think for DeFi, right? For DeFi it's definitely Ethereum.
For sure, yeah.
And so it's starting Ethereum, then Cosmos, and now coming to Bitcoin. It seems sort of like a natural evolution. And that's fine. It's actually kind of cool. It's just also like there isn't really anything super new there, right? It's just, okay, you use Bitcoin as the collateral.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Yeah, it's great. It's a great collateral, but you have to see like something like completely new emerge there. That's like what I'm more interested in.
Yeah, because I mean, up until now, a lot of the innovation on Bitcoin is happening at the L2 layer, and maybe Taproot and sort of like enabling more security or easier bridging to L2s, but not so much is happening at the Bitcoin layer. I mean, I'm not like super familiar with this, but I've heard people talk about the covenants and how that could come to Bitcoin, and maybe some small changes to Bitcoin that will make ZK proofs like more easily to be done natively on chain. But here you're talking about like potentially uprooting the entire consensus mechanism, which is like in itself like such a fundamental defining property of Bitcoin in proof of work. Yeah, I mean, it's like
So yeah, going back to the innovation part, obviously like a lot of innovation is happening on Ethereum, but what I find interesting also is like Ethereum is looking more and more like Cosmos as well, right? With all the app chains and especially like through shared security.
Ethereum is a Cosmos chain.
Yeah. But like yeah, there's just app chains right now, basically. On Ethereum. So Ethereum is kind of taking all of these innovations that actually happened on Cosmos first and having them now on Ethereum.
Yeah.
And I guess the same thing can then transition onto Bitcoin as well. There still need to be the protocol upgrades in order to make that happen, like this OP cat upgrade.
Yeah.
In order to have truly decentralized rollups on Bitcoin. But I think once that happens, we will see the same transition that we saw from like Ethereum becoming more like Cosmos and Bitcoin becoming more like Ethereum and more.
Okay.
A lot of the thing will happen through the rollups, as far as I see it. Also, speaking to like a few teams in the Bitcoin ecosystem, also from the Symbiotic side, I also trying to understand it. There's then like, I guess it's mostly about how do you do the construction so that the rollup can sort of natively settle on Bitcoin and use Bitcoin as DA.
Yeah.
And then, but the rollup itself actually is kind of like an EVM environment or maybe some sort of other move SVM thing. But I guess it's just another rollup ultimately, right?
Yes. Yes.
But it pays fees to Bitcoin, meaning this can actually probably offset some of the fears that people have that Bitcoin is not used at all. It is a store of money, that the rollups paying fees to proof on Bitcoin will like sort of maybe elongate the need to move away from proof of work.
Yeah.
It would be like one theory to have.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess that like sort of disrupts one of the primary use cases of Bitcoin, which is like store of value, etc. But yeah, not to make this all about Bitcoin, but it is an interesting topic. I think we could go really deep into this, and
like maybe just so I was talking to like Signet, and we work closely with them as well. We did like the staking dashboard for them, and they are planning to also settle on Bitcoin, which is really interesting because perceived as a Ethereum layer 2, right?
Absolutely.
But that's not even how they see themselves in the long term. They see themselves as a layer 2 to any blockchain.
Right.
So also settling on Bitcoin, also settling on Solana, and so on. So I guess that's also a way for layer 2s that then not even are kind of tied to one layer 1 only.
Okay, so let me throw this at you, man. If we're gonna go like super philosophical and kind of like long-term thinking here, so I think you introduced me to this team, Catalysis, right? And they're doing like an abstraction layer with all the restaking providers, so it sort of abstracts away restaking as one common pool of security that any application can build on, and they have like an SDK and everything. Is the future, like going further into that, down that rabbit hole, one where all L1s, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and maybe Solana, like if you take like the 3 largest ones by usage and market cap, become this big kind of shared security thing where all the rollups and all the L2s are settling to that, and so kind of commoditizes that security? Is that where things are heading, or will we still have like a clear distinction between, okay, Bitcoin security has like these properties, Ethereum security has these properties, and how do you see that playing out?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think, I guess, if it's like,
Does it all become one big blockchain?
Maybe that's what Symbiotic does as well, right? Like putting all the different tokens and collateral together. And
right. I think, but if it matters like for settlement or like DA, then your underlying layer should be sort of optimized for that use case. So I think if you're actually building a ZK rollup on Bitcoin now, like I spoke to the Citria team and they have the VDM, and then it means you can get like 10 orders of magnitude less per gas than if you would like just do it on Bitcoin somehow. Like basically, but you still pay for a transfer like significantly more than you pay on an Ethereum L2 now. But then again, you have like alt DA that's even cheaper, or like this, maybe the settlement can also be cheaper somehow. So I think actually got the underlying L1 that you settle to and stuff is very more like decentralized, but also performant and kind of computable or programmable matters, so that the L2 also benefit from it, and the proofing doesn't cost it as much. So the Bitcoin L2 might forever be like inferior in terms of like pure fee being paid on the L2. So they need to like somehow make up for that with like, I guess, the additional security you get from being on Bitcoin. So I guess it's like a commodity game where like the features you provide as the settlement will, and I guess in Bitcoin case, that's mostly like, hey, this is the most secure chain and collateral assets.
Yeah.
For then you need to be willing to pay more for the application, which I'm not sure that's what people will want.
Yeah, I think you would also have to separate between the asset and the network. I think like BTC as an asset, not Bitcoin, has like the strongest value proposition in crypto. It's like this very hard-coded 21 million. There will never be more and can never be changed. I think this is really like what this idea, what captures all the value, or like what has all the value in BTC. On the other hand, Ethereum is it's the world computer with the highest network effects. So it's clearly like a winner as a network. BTC is a winner as an asset, I think. So I think we'll see more use cases for Ethereum as a network, I think, because they have all of these network effects, and also more use cases for BTC as an asset. I don't know. I think BTC staking is very interesting issue.
Yeah. So how important is BTC staking in the Symbiotic product, and like, for chains that are built for projects that are building ADSs on Symbiotic? How does that play in there?
Yeah, it's quite important, I think, because there's not that many other assets that you can easily show sort of the vision of a multi-asset staking system or future, where like you obviously need to have Bitcoin there. Basically, you need ETH, Bitcoin, and probably like stable coins. So, and then there's like long tail of other assets, like I don't know, LP positions in an AMM, or maybe like governance tokens of the native projects. But like Bitcoin is kind of one of those core assets that you want there. I think for Symbiotic, What we really deliver is kind of the programmability and the slashing and sort of the expressivity that you can have as ABS, as a network builder. And then also the element that you could use Bitcoin. But obviously, if you're using Bitcoin on Symbiotic, you will have to bridge it somehow to Ethereum, or like have like some sort of slashing message passing there. Or we are working with like a bunch of cool teams that are innovating on this front. So for example, DLC BTC, I think there's like some rebrand coming, but basically they're using the Lightning channel, discrete log contracts to create this like self-wrapping decentralized custody network of Bitcoin. So it's not just like, held by BitGo, but you can mint your own Bitcoin, and then this asset comes to Ethereum and can be restaked. So it's like, and can be slashed also, because we can kind of go back and unwrap the original Bitcoin and slash it, where that actually comes very close to kind of what the product that Babylon offers, I guess, with that native Bitcoin staking. But the problem there, I guess, is that because of how Babylon works natively on Bitcoin, it's very hard for them to be like as programmable as Symbiotic is, and as can cover so many like different sort of slashing use cases. So, but you can just put your Bitcoin straight on Bitcoin and earn the additional yield there. It's like a great barrier proposition. So I think very importantly, but yeah, there are like some trade-offs there, and obviously like assets that are natively issued on Ethereum are potentially more interesting. You could still, well, because they're like completely native to that environment.
Yeah, and there's no risk. I mean, the risk is there's less risk to some extent, like bridging risk, etc.
You have to account those things.
Yeah. How like, what's your perception of how like the restaking narrative has changed staking? I mean, like, you guys offer data services for the staking industry, and you're sort of looking at this across the board. Like, how has restaking changed the narrative for validators and infrastructure providers?
Yeah, I mean, I think it opens up like endless possibilities. Basically, I think that's why it's really interesting. Like, because proof of stake, like staking, has always just been like, kind of you provide infrastructure for like a layer one chains, and now you can provide economic security for like any app, anything on the internet. So it makes it really easy to like really create a fully decentralized stack. Because if we think about that we're gonna go into like an app chain world, we want to see like every service on the internet being decentralized somehow, and that's what shared security and restaking basically allows us to do. That like anything can be like out of the box, like decentralization as a service kind of. So it really changes the whole game from just staking being only used for kind of blockchain infrastructure. Now it's being used for like basically internet infrastructure. So it's like the use cases are so much wider actually for staking.
What are the most like exciting use cases that you guys have seen, here or just generally?
Yeah, I mean, it's still already, you're probably closer to like all the networks and like ABSs and so on. I guess it's mostly like rollups, and like it's still some sort of part of the like infrastructure also for blockchains.
Yeah.
Not sure if you've seen any kind of like outside data or like apps or something is shared security already.
I think like my take is more that it actually doesn't change. It's like I feel like we already have had staking for specific use cases outside of just being a layer one, right? Like, I guess actually Chainlink doesn't have staking, but you could probably have some Oracle that had like some staking on there. Like app chains and Cosmos that do like specific things that aren't just consensus log networks.
Yeah.
But I think the core innovation is that now it doesn't necessarily need to be a consensus network that you can have staking for, because
It's just like economic security as a service, sort of like,
like restaking is also like, it depends what is actually what you're talking about. Is it just the framework for staking that makes it easier to bootstrap the validators and have like sort of the core staking logic? Or is it really like reusing the same capital? If you're talking about the reusing the same capital, then we actually haven't seen that at all yet. There's no restaking live in the real world.
Yeah.
So we don't actually know yet the new use cases. But I personally think that because everything is done in this one protocol, and like they can share collateral together, you can also create just a much larger pool of sort of of collateral, and then it can become very interesting for like some random use case like a reinsurance use case that will pay very little APY but needs like a lot of capital at risk to leverage the restaked capital that actually is also staking at all these proof of stake networks to pay APY to then just add like a little bit, and a lot of capital will opt in just to get that additional percentage points and can like create like, I guess, just products like that aren't necessarily proof of stake networks. Like something that I expect. Sure.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, and I think like helpful for the audience to understand too. But Eigenlayer has really created the restaking narrative, or at least like brought it to market in a very significant way. And like there are now other restaking providers, and I think Symbiotic is like the biggest runner-up after Eigenlayer in terms of TVL, and also just having captured the narrative. Like what are the fundamental differences to the Symbiotic product and Eigenlayer, and how are you guys like how are you thinking about becoming basically like the winner in this category?
Yeah, definitely. I think it certainly like Eigenlayer captured sort of this imagination of a lot of people and created like sort of this industry, and just brought way more people into the staking space that probably wouldn't be here otherwise. I think that's hard to deny. So that's been really cool to see. Also, like more people caring about like sort of decentralizing certain part of their infrastructure, which probably otherwise they would just build a centralized service. I think there's still probably too many things going around that are actually centralized and not considering building on some sort of this staking framework that makes it easier for you to bootstrap your decentralized network. That's ultimately how we see ourselves. So like Symbiotic, we kind of want to just make it as easy as possible to decentralize your network, whatever it is. And that basically means we provide a core protocol and a core framework to essentially build like special staking logic. So you can use whatever collateral assets you want to use. You can kind of have special slashing conditions. The service itself can use whatever chain building stack you want to use, like Cosmos SDK, Substrate. It can be a roll-up stack. But ultimately, the liquidity is concentrated on Ethereum, and sort of the staking happens there, and all the records are kept on Ethereum, and it's orchestrated there, and all the agreements that the different networks are doing with the operators and their stakers. So there's this division of capital and labor in Symbiotic. They are accounted on Ethereum and like sort of enforced there. So if someone says like, your network A, B, C, like we decide to share that their collateral together, and network C gets slashed, it will impact us. But yeah, it's enforced on Symbiotic on Ethereum, and you opted into it, so the tough luck you suffer from that slashing there. You could have just also had like isolated stake just for your network, and now you don't have the restaking benefits, but you would know, okay, this thing's only considered by me. And ultimately, having that sort of allows you to also, you can put that together in Symbiotic any way you want. So you can have like parts of the stake be restaked with other networks, and other parts be like sort of isolated to you. So it's like a mix and match thing. And that's kind of the design philosophy, to be more modular, more flexible, and try to design portable in this minimal way that all these different use cases can be built on top without like prescribing certain things. So like I think what went wrong in previous shared security iterations is that they came with like sort of a top-down view of, this is like the shared security system and we're the overlord, and this is the parachain auction model, this is the shard.
Yeah, right.
So like it's very prescriptive in how the shared security is shared, versus we were more like, here's the protocol for how you can build it, but yeah, build it, and then we'll see what emerges from it in the long run. But it's all built on the same protocol, and there's network effects around that.
Yeah. What do you see as like being unique in Symbiotic that makes a real difference in terms of like how restaking evolves?
Well, I think it's much more modular, right? So like I guess that's the real advantage, like trying to be more modular and like kind of decentralizing the restaking and shared security stack even more. I mean that's at least what I get from the Symbiotic team, I think, that they're looking to just decentralize the whole protocol much more. So I think that's a great edge and a great philosophy, really.
Yeah, there's also a point of like immutability and sort of making sure that the core architecture, that the consensus of a network is being built upon, doesn't change below that. So really the stable foundation for consensus, right? Like we think if you're building like native launch, you're building like Cosmos chain, you sort of have that, but then your liquidity is isolated to your own chains. Now that's kind of shitty. So like it's better to have that on Ethereum, but then if you build it on Ethereum, it actually needs to be either part of a core Ethereum protocol or it needs to be immutable smart contract. So yeah, that they kind of be changed, or if they are, like you can opt into it and all these things. So that's where we start from.
Maybe switching gears a little bit here. We're all infrastructure people, I think. Like we invest in infrastructure, you guys build infrastructure, you guys provide data about infrastructure, and in this current moment in this part of the cycle, in this cycle, there seems to be quite a lot of interest in meme coins and other forms of applications that I think a lot of people foresee as potentially like becoming huge in the next couple of months. How do you think that affects the infrastructure side of things and like people working in infrastructure? Does it detract the builders? Does it just mean there's like more capital coming into infra projects? Yeah.
I feel like there's two sides actually. It feels like this kind of meme coin narrative is coming up now, like the meme coin super cycle everyone is talking about, and it's kind of the industry is getting more degen on that side.
Yeah.
On the other side, it's kind of getting way more institutional now. It's like I guess we see a lot of like change in the US happening as well with the new legislation, and then we have a lot of institutional capital coming in, so it's getting really serious and like suited up on the one side, and then getting way more degen on the other side.
It's like pulling at both extremes.
Yeah, all three.
Institution had a bigger peak.
Probably, yeah, prime and right. Yeah, so there's a lot of them investing in meme coins as well, which is crazy. And even like Elon Musk supporting Dogecoin and yeah, and Dogecoin is like top 5.
Yeah, at least top 10. Yeah,
top 10 at least. Yeah, it's insane actually. Yeah. So yeah, I think it will be really interesting. But I think meme coins is always these are great experiments actually to like test new stuff. Like for example, trying to get Dogecoin to be POS or something. Could be a good experiment. And also other meme coins could really like through their creative designs unleash some innovation in the end. Which
I think there's also just like a lot of locked up liquidity. I mean, if you look at what's the market cap of Doge is like
deep billion.
Exactly. Right. And yeah, Cardano's like 20 billion or something like that, right? I mean, this liquidity is basically just sitting there. It's not being restake Doge, restake Cardano. I mean, restake.
So it's like permissionless.
Yeah.
Oh, really? But not incentivized, I guess.
Someone needs to build Babylon for Doge. Like, and like Litecoin. Like, I mean,
will lead around.
But that's a good label, like Dogecoin.
Sorry, our meme coin play. Yeah. Cool.
Like for sure. Like
I can get the city out.
It's a great hack to use the meme coin.
Yeah, it's like useless liquidity. It's just there and it's not being utilized in DeFi when it could like potentially be billions of dollars.
Like Dogecoin big in like Aave or something? No, right?
Is it?
No, because Dogecoin is like similar to,
or it's got a leverage on to
Bitcoin is a proof of work chain. It's kind of separated from the EVM. Doesn't have any representation on Ethereum even.
Yeah.
But yeah, if there's a Babylon for Dogecoin, then there would be like also like ABTC for Babylon. There would also Shiba. Isn't there something on the Doge?
Yeah, Shiba, but that's an ASIC coin.
Yeah.
Doge, the core Doge. Yeah, Shiba restaking.
Yeah, we know in the very beginning someone tried to restake, I think one of those, or like now I think Pepe is already somewhere in Symbiotic as a collateral, but it's not like Scheiße though.
Yeah. Cool. Well, and anything you guys want to share? Any upcoming announcements that you want to, or alpha that you want to drop here?
Of course. We are working towards our Mainnet. I think it's probably not gonna be like I don't know when we release this. You're gonna like right away release it?
A couple of days.
Couple days.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, we hopefully have a mainnet at some point in the coming weeks.
I hope so.
That's a mainnet with ABSs, with networks that are building. Yeah, with Symbiotic and actually slashing live and everything. So we were excited for that. And yeah, using like DevCon to kind of get all the teams together that are needed for this coordination effort and speaking to them in person about like what's missing. You know, we have all these like different parts of the ecosystem, like operators, the networks, and the vaults, the restakers. So they all need to sort of coordinate and to understand how everything works. So yeah, making sure the last things are clear and getting started with the real deal. So I think that's the main one we're excited. And then of course the secret Doge restaking project.
Yeah. Let's do it. Yeah. And how about you guys?
Yeah, I mean, the next Staking Summit is coming up. We announced it for April in Dubai.
Yes.
Next year. So that's when we're really excited. It's going to be like a big staking mega event similar to this. And then on the product side, we are working like on a building the official Starknet stake dashboard. So you'll be able to, like, if you have any SGRK tokens, you can stake it through our site, also from the L1. And then manage all your positions and so on. So that's something we've been working on, extending like to other networks as well that you can stake directly on our platform. We also started integrating like Symbiotic as well, so probably will also have more like restaking integrations too. And just having like one staking marketplace where you can restake and stake any asset with any staking provider, basically.
Awesome. Well, guys, thanks for doing this. It's been really fun.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Amazing.